Hello, today we're going to focus on something that has affected all of us in a way or other. The tragedy has happened on February 24th, just hours after Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky addressed the nation. At 5 a.m. Ukrainian time, bombing by the Russian military began, followed by thousands of troops entering Ukraine. People were screaming and leaving their country, leaving their houses, without knowing when they will see them again. A lot of us are asking ourselves what the conflict between Ukraine and Russia is. Well, the Russo-Ukrainian War began in 2014, following the Russian annexion of Crimea from Ukraine. Personally, the news was a massive shock and a nightmare that seemed real. Today, while we are recording this podcast, it's already day 7, and we had many things happen since day 1. Let's see what happened every day. Day 1, the entire world was shocked. At 5 a.m. Ukrainian time, the Russian Federation started an invasion in Ukraine, Kiev. Odessa, Mariupol, Kharkov, Dnipro, and near Kiev, some bombs have been bombarded with Russian rockets. Ukrainian forces started the war. Chernobyl was captured, and they are planning of creating a nuclear bomb. Day 2. Russian troops have arrived in Odessa. Ukraine has put down 5 airplanes and 1 Russian helicopter, and millions of military Ukraine army have died. The Moldovan Republic are adding emergency state. European leaders are adding very harsh acts to Russia. The Snake Island have been taken, and 13 Ukrainian people are known that are dead, but it's not 100% sure. Day 3, the entire world is holding protests anti-Putin, and Russian protests have led to people going in prison. Many acts of kindness are seen in Romania and Poland as people are helping the refugees with food and places to sleep. The anonymous hackers have hacked the Putin system. Facebook Meta have stopped any Russian media to be seen in the whole Europe. Day 4, Russia has suffered severe sanctions. Day 5 and 6, many Russians have bombarded Kiev with heavy illegal bombs. Kherson was captured, Kharkov was captured too. Ukraine is finally in the European Union, and it's a decision with 2 roads: World War III in a side, or being stronger as a country. Today I have an important guest, an old friend of mine, Alex. Our friendship is more than 8 years old, but this is not important in this moment. It is important that he is away, 300 kilometers away from the borders, and he has seen helicopters, tanks, army forces in the city. Yesterday, before our podcast, a rocket was 15 kilometers away from our borders. Hello, Alex. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. How are you,
Hello,
Alex?
it's just a great pleasure to see you. It's really nice.
How are things now going in Romania?
Well, things are going just as normal as they can go, but the thing is that the Romanians are very scared. They think that this war might lead into Romania too, and they're pretty scared of what the consequences can be. I mean, everyone is sad and terrified of what is hearing at the TV and the news, and everyone is just very concerned and very depressed somehow. Everyone is worried for their families and friends.
Yes, I can say that. Like from the moment it started, I was worried for you. I was worried for my family. I was worried for everyone because at the end of the day, it's so near our country. Like it could affect any second.
Well, it's just nearby, and it's anything can happen at any moment. And the situation is
Yes.
very tensed between us and the Ukrainians because lots of them have came in our country, and you know how it is.
Yeah. What was your reaction when you heard that Ukraine was invaded by the Russians?
Well, first I was like, Jesus, this really happened because at the beginning the Russians just infiltrated some troops in Ukraine but haven't attacked anything and didn't had to do anything at all. But I was like, Jesus Christ, this really happened. This war is just really starting, really going on. And
Yes.
I I I started to be scared too because the country is just nearby. So
Yes, I remember that morning I waken up and then I heard on the news and I was like, oh my God, what is going to
yeah,
happen? what are the
I
next steps, and it
I
was just
woke
like a
up.
nightmare.
Yeah, I woke up and I went to school, and then some teachers came in class and told us that Ukraine is at war with Russians, and everyone, even my colleagues, were just like very scared and like, what, Jesus Christ, how that happened? It was just normal till now. Everybody was worried
Yeah.
somehow.
How do you feel about what Putin has done so far?
I think so far he did some really terrible things. I mean, he scared people. He made and he forced them actually to move away from their own place, from their own country, from their own families, and it's really horrible. It's like,
We are living in
well,
a horror movie.
yes. The only thing is that in horror movies we know they're not real, but this is reality. What is going on?
Yes, and it hurts seeing how many people are traveling from Ukraine to our borders, and you see them like babies crying,
Yes.
needing of food, and it's just like, how? What is the next step? What Putin doesn't see this, because this is so important. Like, yes,
Well,
I don't want to say my strong point on that because many
no,
people, yeah,
that's definitely something that we don't want to see. And what's the saddest part of all of this is that Putin has threatened them. I mean, us, the Romanians, that if we take more immigrants from Ukraine, then we're gonna have to suffer, and which kind of made
yes,
me ask myself something, you know, it's very bad.
yes. What do you think about, like, from day one to day five, what happened in Ukraine? What do you think was the most shocking moment after seeing everything?
The most shocking moment was when I actually, because it's already been a week since Ukraine is at war,
Yeah,
and I saw pictures of dead people, and I was just terrified of what I saw.
yeah,
I just couldn't believe something like this could happen. It was just like bloodbath, and
yeah,
I couldn't imagine this happening in Romania. But I think sooner or later it's gonna happen
yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, because I think social media has done a thing which is quite affecting. You can see Ukraine war in TikTok, Instagram, everything, and you can see like a very explicit moment of the war. And it's just like you
Yes,
worrying, giving us anxiety, making us a bit depressed. Like we're not happy anymore because we're seeing people dying. And I think we
yes,
should show this to the world.
we live with the thought that we might be attacked because Romania, like I said, is just nearby Ukraine. And you always think like this man any day can be attacked too. I mean, we can be attacked too in any day, you know.
Yeah,
And it's very shocking that they attacked Kiev. But what is really good is that Kiev is still resisting in front of the Russians. But like I said, the most shocking is those innocent people who have died. It's
yeah,
really sad. And although I've seen and I've heard on the news that his family was pressed by Putin, that they're being hunted and all of that, and I'm really starting to put my situation in Zelensky's situation, what nightmares he's living right at the moment, but he finds a reason to fight every day. He is motivated to fight every day to keep going on, you know. And that's
yes,
just great how he really can do this.
yes. Do you think
Yeah.
that Ukraine, being a part of Europe, could lead to World War III?
Uh, well, maybe not Ukraine. I mean, this war is clearly that it's gonna advance at one point. But Ukraine is part of Europe, but not part of NATO. Now, let's say it like this: if Putin or Russia is about to attack Romania, it's more clearly that Romania, being a NATO country, uh, will lead to the World War III, because then every NATO country will come and join the war, and that is going to be the World War III. But Ukraine, which is not part of the NATO, I don't know if it's just going to lead to another world war. I think it's just going to be, until then, it's just going to be this war between them and the Russians.
Yes, what I was worried about, and I think many of Romanians were worried, because he did enjoy, Ukraine did enjoy the Europe, then it's Europe land now. So if Russia wants to get on the Ukraine, then Ukraine, like the Europe is gonna try to get Putin away, because now it's in the United Europe. Like it's just a bit worrying. Even if it's not in NATO, it's still like
Yeah,
now is a part of it, which is quite worrying sometimes.
yes. Well, I don't know. A lot of people told and they are wondering what Putin's plan is. Well, I think his plan is to have under his control the whole eastern flank. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, because of
Mhm.
the Soviet Union, because he wanted
Yes.
that to be again, which is quite worrying because
Well,
he
from
does have.
there, let's say he occupies the eastern flank, but from that moment, maybe he wants to occupy the whole Europe. And where is he going to get? We cannot permit that. It's clear.
Yeah, and I think Joe Biden and Boris Johnson and loads of president are going to stop that with loads of equipment that we need. I mean, today in
Clearly.
Romania, yeah, today in Romania, they did arrive 1,500 people from NATO to help us in case of an emergency, which is
Yeah, yeah.
quite,
I saw some American soldiers like 2 days ago just walking around the city. It was really interesting. I heard them talking and I find out that they were Americans after the accent. They were dressed in some uniforms. And then I came back home and I saw on the news that they sent us soldiers and troops.
yes.
And then I
Because
found out,
because the city we are both, I was living and you are living at the moment, Sibiu is a city of NATO in a way because the NATO the NATO when they met in NATO with loads of like NATO members, they did meet there, and it's always like Sibiu being the military city in a way.
yes,
So
and it's a commercial city and a touristical city too, because we have such nice wonders that you can visit, like museums and all of
yes,
that. And it would be a real big lose. I mean, a real big
yeah, and I
lose
think
to
now
lose it.
now thinking about that, do you think that Putin will want Sibiu in a way because we have a load of facilities that he doesn't have in Russia. For example, we have the mountains, like the biggest mountains in Europe. We have a lot of energy. In petrol, we
Yes,
are good. So he could
I think
perhaps want that city.
I think Putin is attracted by Romania somehow because think about this. Romania is a country with so much resources. I mean, we got gold, silver, lots of resources, and we export a lot. And that's the reason why maybe that's one of the reason I think that he wants to occupy Romania too, because we have those mountains that you just said right now. We have opening at sea, at the Black Sea, and
Yes.
commercials there, plus that beautiful delta that you cannot
Yeah.
find it anywhere else on the earth. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
There are many touristic places that Russia could perhaps want, but I don't think it's fair for them doing that. How does it feel to be close to Ukraine borders?
well, it feels like, I mean, you always have this thought that in any moment, any time, you can be bombed or attacked or invaded or something like that. You know, and being close to the border, you see lots of immigrants, and you see them crying, worried. Some of them are even hurt. Injuries on the face and all of that, and you wonder how can we support something like that, and you wonder yourself why someone like Putin does these things, because he terrifies the world with this, and especially the Ukrainians. And you
Yeah.
always think, Jesus Christ, you are like scared. And I see
Yeah.
I see this to every Romanian on the street. I mean, people are very different since this war started. Everybody is so sad, sometimes even mad, and so depressed somehow with a lot of anxiety that they're not normal. They just walk on the street like someone hurt them or someone did something to them. I mean, it's just not normal what I see every day. You
Yeah.
go into a shop, you see the woman from there that sells, you see her just very sad. And you ask
Yeah.
yourself, why are you sad, man? Well, look at what happens in the world. That's why I'm sad. And it is affecting even us very
Yeah.
bad.
We in 2 years we had a pandemic, now possibly World War III.
And I saw a family of Ukrainians, and they were like very desperate, talking on the phone. Now, I don't know if they were talking to some family that is still in Ukraine or something like that, but they looked very sad. It was a man, his wife, and their daughter. and I think their daughter was about our age, and they looked very sad and very, very scared. And the woman, his wife, was very worried at the phone just from the look of her. It was,
Yeah, just for our audience, because they might not know, 14,000 people are now in our country, and a lot of the refugees are now maybe just passing Romania, but at the moment 13,000 people are now in places where they could sleep, they would have food. The men in Ukraine have been there helping Ukrainians. So I've seen in news, like news are always just showing that how women are coming with the kids, and then
yeah,
they're like maybe 1 year old or like 10 months, and then it's just worrying because you see that, and then how can you not be worried in a sense of way?
the bad shame is that, only women's and children's you see the most at the border. I mean, you rarely see a man because
Yeah,
they're recruited to go and work. And what is another sad thing is that those women and children sleep in places like churches, old
monasteries.
houses, and all of that, which is really, really sad. Now
Very
we do everything
dramatic.
we can. We
Yeah,
buy
I
food for them.
I think Romania have done an incredible job so far by helping people with their food supplies, houses, and everything. I mean, if you're watching this at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some useful links where you could help with a small thing, because people are in need now. Have you felt that Romania could be invaded by Russia? Like, how soon do you think Romania is going to be invaded?
Well, it depends on how fast Russia takes Ukraine. I mean, the whole country under their control. That can be next week, next 2 weeks, next month. We don't know how much longer this is going to take because from what I see, this war is going to keep going. It's not going to stop. And I'm very worried that after Ukraine, Romania will be the next country that will be invaded.
Yeah.
And that can be anytime soon. Depends on how fast the Russians are moving with Ukraine.
Yeah, because a lot of people did ask me on internet and everywhere, was Romania a communism country? Yeah, it was. And I think now, just like thinking that it was a communism country, I think that's why Putin wants to get our country back, because he's a communism and he wants to extend with his
Yes.
communism.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Referring it to what I said earlier, that he wants to occupy the whole eastern flank. The whole eastern flank of Europe was communism. It was part of the communism. Even Romania. Remember in
89,
1989 when President
Ceausescu.
Ceausescu was killed and all of that, and it was a lot of shooting on the streets, tanks, heavy artillery. Well, this is just what is happening right now with the Ukraine. It's just like a revolution, but it has turned into a war.
Yeah, I think what people from Russia could do, but I think they're so scared because it's scary how hard Putin could like lead to anything and how harsh he is in a way. I think now if people were going out in the streets like in 2000, no, in 198.9, people were using the Ceausescu thing and were going out and protesting and wanting a freedom. I think that's what
Yes.
Russian could do with Putin in a way, but Russian people are scared because they go to prison if they do something. That
Well,
happens.
see,
Is this?
that's the thing of communism. When you are in a communism regiment, the thing is that the president can do whatever he wants because he makes the rules. And I saw a lot of people, a lot of Russian civilians protesting against this war and against what Putin has done. And he threatened them that if they keep doing this, they're gonna he's gonna throw them in jail, which is very absurd. I mean, I don't see any sense in this. But like I said, communism is a regiment where the president gets to do whatever he wants. So that's all.
And I think now we're going to discuss this topic. Is like now moving towards a more discussion-based topic. Putin has the power now to press the red button anytime. And by the red button, I mean the nuclear bomb. How far do you think we are from Putin pressing the button and detonating the nuclear bomb?
Well, in my opinion, we're pretty far from that right now. That is going to happen, from my vision. That is going to happen in the moment when Putin will be when he will be cornered like a tiger from the whole points. I mean, let's say the World War III starts. Uh, America and all of the NATO country jump in. They all fight. They all do that. Let's say they kill the whole Russian army and Putin remains alone. I think that's a desperate situation when he's going to press that red button, when he's going to be cornered from every single uh, point.
think everyone thought about that is that okay, Putin is not going to press the button now, or some people said that it's going to happen very soon. I think it's going to happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, in my point of view. I hope this is not going to be true, because apparently he put his nuclear bomb in the alert sign, and then in Chernobyl there are happening some things. Like the first thing was to get Chernobyl. Why? Like many people would think, oh, maybe he just wanted Chernobyl. No, Chernobyl was wanted for the uranium there. So he could create the nuclear bomb
Yeah,
and
well,
blow up in a
yeah.
in a sad
Thing
way.
is that if he's gonna press that red button and that bomb will be launched, the world that we know, from what it looks right now, it's not gonna be like that anymore, or
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
the whole Eastern Europe. If he presses that button, I think the eastern flank will disappear from the heart.
Yeah. And
Depends what he does.
the amount of radiation that the nuclear bomb is gonna have, and knowing that Putin has 4 millions of nuclear weapons, like bombs, the Tsar bomb, which is that is the strongest.
Putin doesn't care that much anymore if he just press this button and this bomb will just explode. Because let's be real, how old is he? He is 70 years old. He lived his life. I don't think he cares that much anymore.
Yeah, and
I
he
think
has
he's the
all.
kind, I don't mean any harm to him or to, to curse him or something like that. But I think he's the kind of person that thinks, well, I lived my life. If I'm gonna die, everybody else has to die because what point is to live anymore? I think he is the kind of person that doesn't cares anymore about the ones from around him.
Yeah, his family, even his family, his wife divorces him in 2013. And what she said is that the last years of the marriage were terrible because he had a very change of his personality. And what was so I was like, wow, shocked, is that actually Putin had two awards from Nobel, from Global Peace, and now he's creating another award.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was it's shocking how his mind changed it that much, but what can we do?
Yes.
It's his own person.
What I think is very interesting is that we do not know any information of the longitude of the Russo-Ukrainian war. Let's talk and say our perspective about how long we think this war is going to go for and what future will bring us. What is your perspective, Alex?
Well, my perspective is that, like I said, it depends on what the Russians do. Clearly, the future, I mean, what is going to bring the future is going to be only darkness. It's not going to be sunny, honey, and shiny anymore, like we know. It's going to be total dark. Everything is just going to be ugly, depressed, and all of that.
Hopefully not.
Uh, I think what is about to go on is that, you know, Putin will invade some countries, maybe even Romania. But this is all depends how NATO reacts. Like I said,
hopefully, hopefully that is not going to happen because Ukraine is trying their best to keep the country, and Zelensky is
yes,
doing an incredible job.
yeah, they're resisting that much, and I really appreciate them for that. And not only because they're kind of saving Romania and all of the other countries, but for them, you know, because they defend their country and they resist in front of the Russian artillery. And that's just
Yeah.
great. as a little country, because let's think about that. Ukraine is not such a big deal. It's a normal country, just like any other country in Eastern Europe, but still, it's resisting very good.
Yeah, to be honest, my perspective on this is that Putin wants more. He is hungry. He wants to eat more, more in a metaphor, more countries. And I think
Yeah,
Romania is not going to be next exactly in a bit, but I think if he will lead to get Ukraine, Moldova is going to be next and then our country, which is sad. And I think his anger is so much that Europe is helping so much Ukraine, and they are sanctioning Russia in a very harsh way,
he,
which I think is true. They should have done that, like putting Russia in a bad place, not in a bad place. I mean, by saying, "Oh, you're Russian" or something like that. No, 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 no. By doing so much so he could stop the war, because we need that to happen. And I think Ursula from
yes,
Europe has done incredible things and incredible decisions, but I don't know what we could do to stop this, because we have to stop this.
yes, we have to stop it. But I think the real reason why Putin is doing this is because of some economical problems. Because let's think about that. Russia is placed somewhere where they don't have navigation channels. I mean, they have the Northern Sea, but what can you navigate there? You cannot put any supplies on a boat and just send it where in North or in Antarctica or somewhere like that. But I think he wants to occupy Ukraine and the eastern flank because we have opening at the Black Sea. So that's where the merchandise and supplies come. And from the Black Sea, it's meant. But anyway, it's clearly that he wants more. And even if he touches this more that he wants, he's going to want more and more.
Yeah,
And that
and
is,
happen, and it's
yes,
just
it happened very fast. I mean, think about this. It's only a week since this war started, and they already went to Kiev. They didn't capture it, but let's think about that. How much will the Ukrainians resist? Although it's incredible how many efforts they do.
yeah,
But
and
I don't.
they're also like protecting their country with their own hands. Like today was the news where we've seen like a very huge chunks coming to us, and then you could see like people starting to stopping them with their hands, and how they started to do the
Yes.
cocktails Molotov with which they were thrown and exploding. So they are trying their best, and I think sooner or later they're gonna win, or hopefully, yeah, they're gonna win, because
Yes.
it's
Well,
not it's not a game, because a lot of people did win on TikTok and they were, oh, it's a game, who's gonna win? No, 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 it's
yeah,
not a
I
game.
saw a lot of memes and jokes on TikTok and
No, no,
everything
no.
real, and people are dying out there because of this war. I don't think now a lot of people have said, even in Romania, that Putin is crazy. He's a crazy fool and all of that. Definitely he's crazy because that's clear. But I don't think he wants to hurt people. I mean, when he announced that he's gonna bomb, like I don't know, 2 days or 3 days ago, he bombed in a night Kiev, and he told to every Ukrainian that lived in Kiev to go away. Like this significates that he doesn't want to hurt people. But let's think about that. In a war, there are victims and collateral damage that can happen, and
Yeah,
it's inevitable
what
to
was
hurt civilians.
why I thought, and it was like against Putin. He sent a lot of military people without them knowing. Like it was exactly like you can see clips of them crying and being like, "We were just sent here for practice," and then that practice didn't happen. It was well worth it.
Yeah, yeah. It's everybody is like I said, everybody is very concerned about this. And actually, yesterday I was at school and I was talking with some of my colleagues about this war, and they asked a colleague asked me if it would be to go on the front line, would you go on the front line? And I was like, well, even if let's say Russia does not invade Romania and this fight is only the Ukrainians, I would join the Ukrainians because I'd help them. And even if if I have to go, man, because
Yeah,
I like to help.
I don't think that's
But
gonna happen, Alex. But your
I
courage and
just hope not.
that patriotic blood on you is incredible. It's really incredible.
Yeah. Well, let's just think it's not gonna happen. But
Yes.
in case, I'll have to be ready. But I don't know if that's gonna happen. I mean, it really is far away that. But pro Ukraine. Even at school, everyone is pro Ukraine and everyone wants to stop this war because everyone knows actually that this war is going to bring a heap of trouble, economical problems, and a bloodbath
Yeah.
because that's what a war brings.
Thank you so much for taking part in this podcast invitation. It was a great conversation. We hope that Ukraine will not be taken by Russia. I just want to say two important things. All the information on this podcast was being used from sites that are being verified and trusted. Also, if you would like to help Ukraine now, I will leave some helpful sites here. Ukraine needs us now more than ever. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had enjoying hearing and seeing us.